I was staring at the schedule moving forward, and Bellator's getting ready to announce something. I can feel it, but they haven't yet. And I'm sharing that because so many of you guys asked me for inside information as to Bellator's schedule. I don't have it. I've fished around a little bit. I've read between the lines. Something is coming, but I don't have it. Just truly to get that out of the way. But it's coming real soon. I was looking at the UFC schedule. When I was looking at March, I was thrown off by one thing, which is we're going to do Stipe versus Ngannou, but in that same month, we're going to do Blades versus the Beast. Okay. And right around that time, we're going to do Volkov versus Overeem. Now, the reason I bring that to you and disclose those names is because for a fight as big as the World Heavyweight Championship, the most coveted crown in sport, who's going to be the backup fighter? And I can't imagine this is the one event that they're not going to have a backup. I predict they're going to have a backup. And a backup sometimes is identified and stated for you guys. Use Chandler for what he did with Gaethje and Khabib. You're the backup fighter. Everybody knows. But Dana will have a plan even if he doesn't state it. And that plan is he will just put a featured heavyweight match on the same card as the heavyweight title is being contested. He's got them trained up. He knows that they're licensed. He's got the ticket spot, and one guy gets pulled up. So that's who the backup is. But as I stare at this, well, man, I'm not seeing where this is at. And the reason I think that that's relevant is because if it's not Blades, it's not the Beast, it's not Volkov, and it's not Overeem, who? Who is the heavyweight backup? And that division is very tricky right now because of the insertion of John Jones and the standing working belief that John is going to take on the winner of Francis versus Stipe. It's very tough. It's very tough to become a number one contender when the number one contender is identified and sitting out and the championship itself is still lingering. So who is likely to be the backup? Not who do you guys want to be or but who? Rosenstrike's in there somewhere. He's 1-1 in the UFC, but he's damn good and he's scary and he checks a lot of boxes. I think that Ciryl Gane has to be considered as well, particularly that he's completely undefeated. I believe now off the top of my head, but 11-0, never been beat. Who gives a damn what it is? He's undefeated and has a stoppage win over a former world champion. If I was to guess, I would put Gane. If I was asked to do it, looked at who's left on the board, I believe I would put Gane. But I am predicting that somebody gets put in that position. And so I'm asking you guys a little bit of a different question. My question is not what it usually would be, which is real simple. Who would you like to see face Francis or Stipe if something happens? My question is a little bit different, which is who do you think is going to be put into that position? And I'm wondering very much what I would love. I feel it would be wonderful PR. One thing that John Jones has not ever done a good job about is looking like he cares about the fans. He will say the words into a microphone every now and then, right before he's talking about John 3:16. Nobody buys either one of them. I would submit for you a very wonderful play by John, who's got to be ready. He's had nothing else to do. The fight's still months away. Stipe went into training yesterday. John could go into training tomorrow. I mean, in all fairness, I think a very good move for John, plus it would leave us with anticipation and excitement and wanted to then do something back for John. A very good move would be if John inserted himself, right? The backup fighter has always been a very cool spot. It went out of fashion when Conor McGregor came out and was offered that spot, said, I'm not a backup fighter. That was the only time ever that anybody ever looked over their shoulder and thought, oh, is this not a cool thing? It was always a coveted spot. And it would just seem to me that John filling in would show a humbleness, would show you something to look forward to, would force himself. I mean, a byproduct of that would be a forced discipline, thus the training camp. Not to mention the bravery he would be showing. Think about doing that from John. I mean, right when Chandler did this, to use him as the most recent example, Chandler was willing to step in against polar opposites on zero notice. If somebody misses weight, Chandler steps in. So he's going to have 24 hours notice to take on a grappling heavy Khabib or a striking heavy Gaethje. And Chandler didn't give a damn. I'll do it. I feel as though John would get that same credit because that is a lot. You're asking John, are you willing to take on Stipe Miocic, the baddest man in the world who weighs 230 pounds and can do a little bit of everything? Yes. Okay, great. Are you willing, with no other strategy sessions and or training, to step in and take on Francis Ngannou, who has to cut to the limit and he's all iron? Your first time up. Are you just willing to do it? I'm not saying you're going to have to, not even going to say you can't. Are you willing to? And if John came out and said, yes, I will take on either guy on no notice. In all fairness, right? I don't predict that John gets the best advice or that he would take it or that he cares about you guys, but he does pretend. He does like to pretend, the fans mean so much to me. Be a great way to show the fans you were sincere.